Okay, so I'm going to talk about the importance of connection. It's something I love to talk about and think about, and I think it's so important, that connection thing. So, I mean, what is connection when you think about that? Is it connection like in your community, connection with others? Is it connection with just close friends or family members? Is it connection to tasks? Is it connection to, say, art or cooking, or connection to food, growing your food, whatever? What is that connection? Well, I think connection, it's about all of that and like heaps more. So I think that the more that we understand connection and why it's so important, because the problem is that separation. I mean, that's the problem. When we believe that we're separate to our environment, we're just separate to God, life, spirit, the universe, whatever you want to call it, we're higher intelligence, whatever. Like, if we believe that we're separate to animals, we believe we're separate to each other, we believe that parts of our body are separate. So, we don't see everything as an interconnectedness. I think the more that we can see interconnection in life and in our relationships and in our emotions and in our body, rather than this segregation, where we look at just hormones, or we look at just sleep patterns, or we look at just diet. We look at all these things but separately. And that's what I love about Ayurvedic wisdom when it comes to health, because Ayurvedic wisdom isn't saying everything is separate. Ayurvedic wisdom looks at it all as a whole and says, it's a whole, and how you're feeling and what's happening in your life, and how you're sleeping, and what you're eating, and whether you're stressed, and how's your relationships going, and everything. It looks at all of that before it kind of like you get a tick of health. Oh, great, so you're eating well, you're eating this, you're eating that. Yeah, great, that's fantastic. However, oh my goodness, you're stressed all the time, or you're overworking, or you're oversleeping, or you're not sleeping enough. Okay, well, then you're not healthy. I'm Australian, and so the Western way is the sort of mainstream way, is to look at everything as being separate and going, oh, okay, well, gee, Teresa, you're having trouble breathing. Okay, well, let's have a look at your lungs then, and let's look at that. Not to look at the whole connection of everything together as a holistic. And I really think that that's very important, that our connection. So understanding that connection. So we look at like connection in our bodies, and we think about, okay, so my body is one thing, and it's okay, yes, it's interconnected, and all the organs are talking to each other, and the brain's talking to the organs, and the blood's talking to the brain, and it's all working out, and it's all talking, and it's all working together as a whole. So there's me, and then I can think, well, then there's me in my environment, and that's the natural environment, the environment around me. Or it could be, Moksha, leave it. Moksha, oi. Moksha, leave it. Good boy. Good boy, come here. Moksha, leave it. Maybe chasing a wallaby or something. So connection in my body, and and then I look at, okay, my environment. How connected am I to my environment? So maybe that environment's toxic for me. Maybe I'm around people that aren't so good for me, or maybe it's toxic physically, like there's a lot of noise pollution or something like that, or there's mold in my home, or there's something going on there. So I'm become disconnected from my physical environment. And as soon as I become disconnected from my physical environment, I'm unable to truly see that physical environment's effects on me. And if I'm not able to see that and experience it, then how am I meant to change it or understand it or heal myself? If I'm going to be separate to that physical environment, then I'm not able to understand it, because I'm now separate to it. I'm disconnected. So if I'm disconnected from my physical environment, then I'm going to be disconnected to the way that it's affecting me. which I think is, really not clever. Whereas if I am sitting in that mouldy room and I'm sitting there and I'm observing myself, I'm observing my family or whatever that's stressing me out, and I'm sitting there and I'm going, okay, what, rather than just disconnecting from it, just sit there with it and go, what is happening here? Why am I feeling distressed? Why am I feeling upset? And taking a moment to just sort of assess that. And the same with feeling joy, like in a beautiful physical environment or a place that I'm feeling really happy, I'm feeling relaxed, I'm feeling joyful, I'm feeling energized, whatever. It's a nice place to be. Thinking, what is it about this that is helping? Why is it triggering these joyful feelings and whatever in me? What's that about? And then I'm able to understand, okay, so it's the space. It's having room around me. Okay, so having room around me helps me to feel safe or relaxed or able to feel joy or to feel happiness. And then I may be, noticing that about myself, and then I can go, okay, so when I have more space around me, then I'm able to feel happier or more relaxed. Okay, so when I'm feeling upset and stressed and whatever, it's probably because I need to feel more space around me. So maybe it's as simple as just walking outside and going outside and going, just sitting outside, having more space. Maybe it's about looking up into the sky and feeling the space around me there. Okay, so having space around me, I know that comes from when I'm feeling joyful, when I've got space around me. I'm feeling open when there's space around me. So I'm going to choose space when I'm feeling stressed or upset or tired or whatever, because space is my medicine. Space is going to help me. Maybe it's a certain, whatever it is. So when I'm feeling joy, if I notice about, okay, I'm feeling joy, what's happening around me now? And then I can go, okay, it's that. Okay, so that's good. That helps me to feel joy. So when I'm not feeling joy, I can, remember that thing and go, okay, it's space. It's my medicine. But if I'm disconnected from my environment, then I'm not going to know that space is my medicine, am I? To feel joy. Or if I'm feeling stress in an environment or feeling upset in my environment, then I'm going to be feeling, how am I going to know that, oh, wow, it's this thing. Okay, so I'm in this environment and I'm feeling not good and I'm feeling stress and it's a toxic situation here. Okay, what's happening? Okay, so it's someone blaming me for something. And I don't like that. I don't like that feeling. I'm feeling not good in myself. So, but if I'm disconnected, if I shut down from that, then I'm not going to know that it's the blaming that's the bad thing. And the same with physical. So if I'm feeling unwell, if I'm feeling sick, if I'm feeling tired or whatever, if I can be with that and be connected to that feeling, I'm feeling tired, I'm feeling sick, then I can go, okay, well, what is it that's okay? And then I understand this is where painkillers and whatever, aren't so good. I think if I was to hit myself really hard in the thumb with a hammer, then I would go, oh, okay, I've hit myself really hard in the thumb with a hammer. I know what's caused it. I'm in a lot of pain. The nail's really sore. It's going to be like this for a few hours. Bloody hell, give me the Panadol. I'm going to have a bit of paracetamol. I'm going to get rid of the pain. I know what's happening. And that's a bit of a different story, if you hurt yourself and you know that that's the case. But if you're not feeling well and you just instantly take medication and you don't know why it is that you're not feeling well, do you see how you've disconnected from the feeling of illness? Because you're like, this is unpleasant. I don't like feeling unwell. I don't like feeling this. Therefore, I'm going to take away the symptom. But the problem with doing that and taking away that symptom is that now you're not going to learn. So, the symptom is actually a blessing. It's a gift. The feeling stressed or not good in the environment is a blessing because it helps you to understand what does make you tick. The feeling of feeling joy and knowing why you feel the joy is a blessing because it helps you to know what makes you tick. So this is why connection, I think, is so important, and being connected to ourselves, allowing time to be connected to ourselves and being connected to our physical being and what's happening, being connected to our emotions, being connected to all of that makes up who you are. And when you're connected to that, when I'm connected to that, when we're connected to that essential, and when we allow time to experience that connection, it's a real boon. It's really amazing. And the same thing with community. If we're not connected to each other, and we're not in our community, and we're not around listening to others and observing others and seeing what's going on and how are people feeling and what's the consensus, what's going on here. If we're not aware of that, then we don't know what the health of our community is. So if we don't know what the health of our community is, if we don't know where that is, then we don't know where we stand. And if we don't know where we stand, then how do we be a part of that community? How do we be a part of our families? How do we be a part of our friendships or our relationships or our work or relationship with ourselves or our animals? Or how do we be a part of it? If we don't know what the situation is with that greater thing, then how do we know how to relate to that greater thing? And I think that when you don't have that ability to relate to that greater thing, what happens is, you don't engage with that greater thing. You don't engage with that community. You don't engage with that relationship. You don't engage with that household. You don't engage with that group of animals. And you're really, really missing out, because once again, remember that engaging with whatever it is going to help you to understand where you're at and what makes you tick. So you can understand, okay, I'm in this community, I'm doing this thing, this is where the community's at, this is where I'm at, and I'm feeling this, I'm feeling good, I'm feeling bad, whatever it is. And then you can see, oh, okay, I could work on this aspect. It's showing me this about myself, and then you see it's a real boon, because you can really, then you can really work on it. Oh, listen to those frogs. I mean, we just have to stop. They always go quiet when you come close. They are brown tree frogs. We're in Tassie. Now that we've stopped here and we're talking and stuff, they're not going to probably start up. I'm going to be quiet and see if they start again. Okay, I'll just keep going with my little walk. Now they're so clever. They're watching me walk off, and they're now starting up. They're like, oh, look, she's, now look at these. Aren't these? I love these. These are little native cherries. Aren't they beautiful? They're going to turn into these really little, sweet little, the Aboriginal people would have loved walking along. And so when you're doing this, I used to pick off the native cherries and eat them when they're ready, which is going to be in a couple of months. They'll be red and good. They're little tiny things. But you know what? You just snap off a branch like that, snap, and then you eat it as you're walking along. And then that's like, it's a pruning, and so it'll grow back again. And that's what the Aboriginal people did, apparently. Walked along and snapped off a branch and ate that. Anyway, so yeah, so connection to community, or like connection to your environment. If you're not going to be connected, so the thing is that what you need to do is you need to start with connection to yourself, and this is where I think so many of us go wrong. We think, oh dear me, I'm not feeling good, or I'm worried about this, or this is happening, so I need to go bigger, and I need to try and connect to something like many more steps down the path, and that many more steps down the path maybe employment or financial stability. And it's like, no, we need to come right back to connection to self. And when we're connected to ourselves and we're like, okay, this is where my body's at, this is where my feelings are at, I understand that, I know what triggers me, I know what calms me, I know where I'm fit in my community, I know what I can and I know what I can't do, I know all of that in relation to all that. And we just slowly start like a little baby, going from lying there to crawling, to waddling, to walking, all of that. And we slowly go through this until we are able to, really connect on a bigger scale. So connection is really, really important. And if you're feeling disconnected, some things that you may feel. So we'll just start with that disconnection from self. So if you're disconnected from yourself, so you may be finding it difficult to sleep. You may be finding it difficult to relax. You may be finding it difficult to let things go. So, you have a bit of a situation or you have a dream and it doesn't happen. And so then you go, oh, well, I'm upset about it. And, you have a cry for a bit or something. You get it out of your system and you let it go. Okay, fine. On to the next thing. But if you're really holding on to it, I think that's a sign of disconnection. If you're holding a grudge, that's a sign of disconnection. Holding on to stuff. Also, making poor dietary choices is a sign of disconnection. Being emotionally out of control is a sign of disconnection. Being physically violent is a sign of disconnection. Now, at its absolute, big jack jumper there, at its absolute core, disconnection, what we're disconnected from is our inner peace. And we had a lot of rain here last night, so the road gutters are flowing. So at its core, what are you disconnected from exactly? What you're really disconnected from at its absolute core is you are disconnected to inner peace. And that's the problem. You're disconnected to inner peace. And, that's the thing. If we are connected to inner peace and we're feeling peaceful, then everything's okay. We don't need to seek out this and that and have this and that. And we don't see problems everywhere. And we don't see that we're in lack. We don't see it because if we're peaceful and within and we're connected to that, we're content. And when we're connected to our contentment and we feel content, we feel grateful, we feel relaxed, we feel healthy. So all of these feelings of not feeling grateful, not feeling healthy, not feeling gratitude, all of that comes from a disconnection from the inner peace. So the disconnection from the inner peace, that's the key. So then we've got to ask, how do I get back to the connection to inner peace? So Teresa's saying, I'm feeling this, I'm disconnected from my inner peace. How do I get back to the connection of my inner peace? Now, this is really interesting to think about because I think so many of us think that there's some sort of a recipe, like, oh, well, you just need to meditate, or you just need to go and do this or go and do that, or you need to do less of this and less of that, or you need to eat this food or not eat that food. And I don't know, I don't think there is a certain recipe for everybody. I think there are general guidelines, but I don't think there's a certain recipe. So you've got to come back to when you think, how do I reconnect with my inner peace? How do you reconnect with your inner peace? You will know that, what brings you a feeling of joy and ease and happiness that feels good, that doesn't rely on someone else being hurt or something going wrong. What is it for you? Is it when you're not tired? Is it when you're not overwhelmed? Is it when you spend time exercising and you're used to exercising? What is it for you that helps you to feel good? Is it when you don't overeat? Is it when you don't put yourself in certain situations? So whatever it is for you that helps you to feel better, you need to do more of that thing. So now, look, some of the basic guidelines that I would say that I've learnt is, look, I don't think killing and eating animals, I don't think that's helpful for anybody, and it's certainly not necessary, and I won't go into that now, but for goodness sake, that's not good. Using alcohol and drugs to self-medicate, placate ourselves, whatever, that's also not good. I think anything that really alters our consciousness, it creates more disconnection. It's like, I don't want to be feeling that, and so we just disconnect. So there's certain things will help us to build connection and certain things are going to not help us to build connection. This is the problem. And when we're starting out on that journey of making sure that we are connected to our inner peace as much as possible, we need to do those things as much as possible that help us with help fortify that inner connection. So, not eating animal bodies and their products, avoiding alcohol and drugs, making sure you get enough sleep, being around people and situations that help you to feel happy and relaxed. So, don't make it any worse for yourself. And then slowly, as you build up your connection to inner peace, you'll be able to be around those people and whatever. Now, I still think that ahimsa is the way to go. And I think, that the whole animal thing, I think being vegan does make a big difference, but not one of these vegans that eat lots of processed food. They're disconnected from their food in a different way. Yeah, okay, they're not adding to the animal suffering, but bloody hell, eating all that processed plastic food is 100% not good. Very disconnected to the process of, what your digestion needs and what the planet needs. It's not good, all the plastic in the processed food, but, good vegan whole foods, handmade, perfect. Lots of sleep, perfect. Not putting too much on your plate, absolutely perfect. And we all know what we can have on our plate. And some people benefit from having a lot on their plate. They benefit from being busy. They benefit from having projects and tasks and whatnot. And that's fantastic if you know that about yourself. And other people, no, they can't have too much on their plate. They need a bit more space. They need to go a bit slower. And that's okay. That's good too. It's just knowing how you work. So connection is really important. Connection to your body, physically, connection to your emotions and your thoughts. So remember, where there is separation, you're not able to observe yourself properly, and that's not at all helpful. So now, there you go. There's a bit about connection, and you can have a think today about what you can do to help you to feel more connected. Start with your body. What does your body need right now? What do you need to do? How can you connect to your body right now? And then I'll just add this in as well. Just remember that we are a realm, the human realm, part spirit, part animal. We're very interesting humans. We're not animals, and we're not totally, we're not angels. We're in between. So, but there are other realms. There's the elemental fairy realm, those guys, with the gnomes and the fairies and all those people. Well, not really people, but you know what I mean. And then there's the angels, and there's that realm. And so there are lots of different realms happening. How connected are you to those realms? Because they're there, and they are there for you to be connected to. And once you're connected to those, I see them as being higher aspects of yourself. They are still you, because all is one. But they're a much higher frequency of your you. And they're a much wiser version of you. But you can access that higher, more pristine version of you without the egoic business and the likes and the dislikes and the judgments. That's all very human stuff. And that's perfectly okay, because, you're probably a human, and that's just how it is. And, dogs are dogs, and humans are humans, and pigs are pigs, and birds are birds, and rocks are rocks, and, it's okay. We don't try and make a rock into a leaf or a dog into a cat. We just accept that that's what that dog's like, and that's a dog, and that's what dogs do. And yeah, and I think accepting that is good. So, you're a human, and you're only human, you're human, and that's okay. But you do have other aspects of yourself that are more awakened than the aspect of yourself that's listening to me talk now. And you can connect with those aspects. They are there, and they're there for you to connect to. But you may want to start, remember I was saying, you don't want to go too far ahead. So you may want to start a bit closer to home and start with your body. And then move up from there. And yes, and just remember connection over separation. That's what we're going for. So Hari Om Tat Sat. Love and blessings to you for a beautiful day. And that's over and out from me.